Think back to your grade school days, especially your middle school and high school days. What did your morning routine consist of? It may not look the same as everyone, but one thing most of us had in common: waking up and going to school tired and oftentimes underrested. The purpose of this speech is to inform on why school should start later and the benefits to that. Many schools have adopted this system and have seen impressive results. Overall, starting school later leads to more attentiveness and participation in class, higher overall academic success, and a better overall student experience. The first benefit of starting school later is because it leads to overall better class participation and overall attentiveness. Me personally, especially in high school, I found that in my first 2 hours of class, I wasn't paying as much attention as I needed to and not getting the grades that I desired. I found that was mostly due to me being tired and underrested from the night before. Dr. Judith Owens, Children's Director of Sleep Medicine at childrensnational.org, explains that growing students should be getting at least 9 hours of sleep a night. On top of that, she goes on to say that students in their preteens and teens are tending to go to sleep at a later time. If a student goes to sleep at 11 p.m., they should be sleeping until at least 8 a.m. to be getting the proper amount of sleep that they are required to be getting for their body to be functioning the way it needs to be functioning. 8 a.m. is well into first period for most schools. Schools have found that if students are given just 30 minutes of extra sleep a night, that tardiness goes down and that overall class participation goes up. Overall, more sleep helps students be more engaged, especially in the early hours of the day. The next major benefit of starting school later is the positive benefit it has on overall academic success. A circadian rhythm is a pattern that an individual typically goes to bed and wakes up in the morning. As previously stated, once students reach their preteen and teenage years, their circadian rhythm begins to shift to a later bedtime and a later wake-up time. Unfortunately for these students, they still have to wake up bright early in the morning and are expected to perform at a high level academically at early hours in the morning. Terry Maghaken-Shapiro from Santa Clara University explains, empirical studies find sizable gains in test scores and overall grades from later start times in adolescence. Even just a 1 hour delay in start time has the same effect of being in class with a third fewer students or with a teacher whose performance is one deviation higher. Many schools are willing to spend a lot of money to obtain higher test scores and grades through resources and expensive technology. But starting later is an easy, cost-effective solution for schools to obtain these goals. Overall, more sleep leads to higher overall academic success. Lastly, a later start time will lead to a better overall student experience. A common argument is that later start times will take away from extracurricular activities. This isn't the case necessarily, because most after-school activities, especially sporting events, happen later during the day. For instance, a varsity football game typically starts at 7. A varsity basketball game typically starts at 7. And even those junior varsity sports are starting at times around 5:30 or 6 p.m. Actually, a later start time would lead to later schooling time, which would allow those students to practice at a more game-appropriate time, allowing them to participate in practice at the time they would actually be competing in their actual event. Harvard Medical states also that more sleep is directly correlated to overall student mood. Students who are getting more sleep typically have better attitudes and are less likely to interrupt and bother class with bad behavior. A study at Pennsylvania University was conducted on a small group of students where they were subjected to just 4.5 hours of sleep per night, which is much less than they were supposed to be getting. Those students reported heightened stress, high levels of mental exhaustion, and very short tempers. Those students, when returning back to their normal amounts of sleep after the experiment, reported massive boosts in their overall mood, attentiveness in class, and ability to control their temper. So overall, more sleep leads to a better overall classroom environment and student experience. In conclusion, more sleep personally for myself once I got to college helped my mood, helped my overall attentiveness and willingness to participate in class. And I found that I was especially struggling with my morning classes. Many schools have shifted to the system of having a later start time and are obviously reporting success in the areas that were stated in this speech. Overall, more sleep leads to a better student experience, more attentiveness and participation in class, and most importantly, higher academic success.